So today we're dropping into the subject of too muchness. You know, if you're a highly sensitive person and you're someone who's done all the inner work, which obviously you are because you're here, you're listening to this, you've probably been told that you're too much. Either that you're too much or you're not enough. And listen, that's not the problem. You were never the problem. This has always been your power. Because your energy is just so precise that it cuts through the BS, right? Like you're not there tolerating anything and everything, okay? And this to some people can be perceived as problematic. I know I get called that a lot. Problematic, dramatic, and that's not what you are. It's just you're very much so in alignment with your morals and doing what's right, and you use your voice and you stand up for yourself, right? And that is huge power because we are living in a world where so many people are suppressing their voices and they're bypassing their emotions just to fit in with people that are not even in alignment, who see them for who they are, right? And that's why I'm so happy that you're here, because in this community we see you for who you are. We love you for who you are through your process, through your growth, through all of it, and we love all versions of you, right? And that's the communities that we need to be creating in our lives, with our families, with our own personal self, with our friendships. We need to have communities where we're loving all versions of people and that we're not tolerating the BS, because that's your filtration system. You, in your quote unquote too muchness, which is not too much, it's just you have high standards and you stand up for what's right, that is the filter. That is the fucking filter, okay? And I see this, so there's so many people who've come to me around like dating, and they're like, it's so hard to date right now. And yeah, if I get it, there a part of that is true. And also, this is coming from a woman who has been in a lot of relationships and who has also been great feeling single and your own solitude. There's so many great people out there to date. And if we keep telling ourselves that the dating's hard, nobody's out there, all the good ones are taken, or whatever, you're just putting yourself into that energy. And I say this so lovingly. I get it. It can be hard. It can be lonely. I get it. You can feel like you're losing hope and losing faith, but don't do that. Stop doing that, because you're putting yourself in a worse position. I'm not telling you to be toxically positive, but you do have to hold the vision for yourself when it comes to love, when it comes to your leadership. But I'm going to specifically focus on love for this audio. So I'm going to share some vulnerable stories here that actually might make you guys laugh too. I laugh at it now, so feel free to laugh at me as well. But given my lot of experiences, like I have experienced a lot of rejection because of how deeply I feel, because of my beliefs, my moral beliefs, and how I'm so much in integrity with it. Like, if someone is saying something like really wrong, I'm not going to sit down and like sit on the sidelines and just let them say that. I am somebody who will speak up. And a lot of people don't like that, because what happens when you speak up and you challenge people who are being mean? It's a reflection back to them. Think about it. They often feel judged. They often feel like they're not a good person because they've said something wrong. And then that comes out as defense mechanisms, right? It comes back as, constant projection. Like, it comes in so many forms. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've experienced this in some sort of area of your life, right? But whatever rejection you've gone through, I need you to know that it's not a punishment. It is also a filtration system, okay? Your frequency is working for you by repelling what's not in your energetic integrity. And because you're so much in your energetic integrity, or you're working towards being in alignment with your energetic integrity, you are going to experience a lot of people falling to the side, okay? Does that mean that you're too much? No. It means that there's a lot of people who are not willing to look at their shit. And it's not your job to convince them to look at their shit. It's not your job to convince them otherwise. You can use your voice, and in that, that is a pure activation, you using your voice. People have the choice to either and it, I mean, sometimes it doesn't always happen in the moment. Sometimes it happens after time passes, where they look at the situation and they're like, okay, shit, I was wrong. But you staying grounded in your frequency and your moral beliefs and using your voice, and maybe sometimes you're not using your voice, maybe you're just so anchored in your energy that like it speaks for itself, or both, you know what I mean? That in itself can be, I don't even like want, I know I used the word repelling just a few moments ago, but it's not even about repelling, to be honest. It's truly about filtering out what's for you and what's not. And every time you say yes to what's for you and you're ready to say no to what's not for you, that's going to unlock new level, new identity. Because sometimes it's saying no to the people that we love the most. Sometimes it's standing up to the people that we love the most because they've said and hurt us, right? So the intensity that people feel around you, it's often not about you. It's about what you're reflecting back to them and what's being activated within them, right? So in other words, you know, your bigness can trigger a lot of unprocessed parts of other people. But that's not for you to carry. You know, you're not going around trying to trigger people, obviously. Like, you're leading with love. And a part of leading with love, it's not about appeasing and making other people feel good all the time. There is another side to that where, yeah, you are going to trigger people. I know people have triggered me, and I'm like, damn, thank you so much for that, because you activated something that I needed to learn in that. I went through, this was like almost 3 years ago, but I went through like a huge heartbreak with someone, and it was so triggering. And still to this day, some of these things still come up for me with this person. But it was so triggering. But that is the relationship that literally shook me. Like the final shake, let's call it that. The final shake, where I was like, damn, like, I'm not settling for less. Fuck that shit. Like, this guy made me, like, he did not treat me well. And I put up with it for a really long time and maintained hope and all of these things. And that whole process of, like, that was me learning to love myself and me learning to value myself highly. And yes, I probably would have learned it with somebody else or maybe in another way, but I needed to learn it in that way that was so intense for me that it's like I had to feel that pain on such a deep level to be like, okay, this, we're not doing this again, you know? So again, like, even him like how I felt so intensely around him. Yes, some of that was him, but a lot of that was me. A lot of that was me not valuing myself, and I needed that to be activated within me so that I could become the person who is confident and in love with herself and who, you know, sets high standards in love, right? And so that's the core message I want you to take from this today, is that you're not responsible for how other people receive your bigness. And I know that can be really hard, especially when it comes to people that are closest to us. I know that can be really hard. Trust me, like, I know firsthand. So I don't want to minimize what you're feeling. I'm not telling you to, like, not feel that and to, you know, not care about it. But I am inviting you to assess and be discerning around where your energy is going when people are telling you that you're too much or that you're too sensitive or whatever it is that you're seeing, that they're saying to of, right? Like, and the people who are saying this to you, you know, another thing to reflect on is, well, where are they at in their life? Like, are they actually people that, you know, you admire and look up to? And it's like, are you taking this feedback from somebody who hasn't done work on themselves? Because then that says all of it. Because somebody who has done work on themselves, they're not even going to use that language of it's like you're too much. Like if there's something that comes up in a relationship where they're triggered or they didn't like something that you did or vice versa, they're not going to say you're too much, like I'm done. No, they're going to come to you. And maybe that takes some time too, because some people process things very differently, right? Even healthy people, you don't have to process things always on the spot, okay? But you do need to have like hard conversations with people, and that's what somebody who's highly emotionally intelligent is going to do instead of shaming you and calling you too much of this or too sensitive, right? So before you leave this, I want you to reframe the narrative around your bigness, okay? So this is the reframes that I want you to think about. Your bigness triggers unprocessed parts of others, and that's not for you to carry. You're not intimidating. Okay, you're not intimidating. You're just very embodied. You're very embodied in what you believe in. And you're vocal about it. And vocal about it through your actions as well, too. Your desire to be received versus your obligation to contort. Like, you're those two, like, you have to be very discerning of when you have that desire to be received. Really go deep within yourself and ask, like, what part of me? It's usually the inner child, but it can be different parts of you. But like, what part of me is asking to be seen, and how can I see myself through that instead of that obligation energy to warp or to shrink to be accepted. Like, you're not contorting yourself, okay? And let the too much become your compass, not something that like incarcerates you. Let your too much be okay sometimes. Because again, you're not going to be too much for the people who are in alignment with you. Don't suppress who you are just to like fit into a box that you're not even supposed to be in, to fit into circles that you're actually not even supposed to be in. But you can allow your quote unquote too muchness to be your authenticity. And that's what I mean by letting it become your compass. Try and show up in circles as your full unfiltered self. And you'll notice when you do that, like, yeah, you're going to get people who are going to be like, what the fuck? Like, you're going to get people who might not want to be your friend, and that's okay. You might find partners that it doesn't resonate with. That's okay. Let that be your compass, because that too muchness, that rawness, that authenticity is going to lead you to the very soul people who are meant to be on this journey with you. Okay. So before we leave this audio, I just want to invite you to just lovingly close your eyes and place your hand to your heart, or maybe on your womb space. And if you can just tap into the part of you, even if it's subtle, that still thinks that love comes with lessening yourself, becoming less of yourself. So just breathe into that part of your body. Where are you needing to breathe into that part of your body? Maybe you find the shrinked part of yourself in this part of your body. And I want you to just go into your body, into that space, and wrap your arms around this shrinked version of yourself. And as you place your arms around the shrink version, you start to feel this version expand within this part of your body, growing at a really nice pace, slow and steady pace. And as you feel this version of yourself grow, as your arms are wrapped around this version, maybe your arms begin to separate because it becomes bigger, because it begins to take up space. And you notice you're holding yourself with open, wide arms instead of closed, constricted. And just whispering to yourself, either out loud or in your mind's eye, I'm safe to stay open. I'm safe to stay open. Feeling yourself expand a little bit more until this version of yourself fills up that part of your body that you're breathing into, that once felt like it was lessening. Good. And just sending love to this part of your body, to this version of yourself that had the bravery to expand, the version of yourself that once shrank, but now is willing to take up space intentionally. Maybe placing your palms to that space or area on your body, feeling the warmth seep into your skin, sending yourself so much love. And when you're ready, you can lovingly open your eyes, take a look around the room, start to orient yourself back into your environment. Okay, my love. Remember, your bigness is your power. And I want you to move through your day. Make a commitment to yourself right now in this moment that you're going to move through your day owning your bigness, owning your rawness, your authenticity. And you're going to accept yourself and move with certainty of knowing who you are and knowing what you deserve. I love you so much. I see you. I got you. Now, drop your comments in the community, and we want to hear how you're feeling. We want to hear what's happening for you after this activation. All right, I will see you when I see you. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night whenever you're listening to this.